Hi guys, so this is a video on how to address the defect in the latest generation of these Milwaukee Fastback 61 tools. But before I get into that, I want just to give people a little background about this item. This item is pretty neat, so if you've never seen it before, just keep watching. But if you have seen these before, feel free to skip ahead to where I actually do the fix for it. So just a little background, this is a utility knife. It's called the Fastback. So if you click on this button here, the blade comes out. So this blade is replaceable. There is a little button here where you can push to remove and replace the blade when it is dull. There's also an area on here where you can actually store a replacement blade. So that really comes in handy. There's also a little wire stripper there. Here is the screwdriver section, has a 9-degree indent here, and it has a 180-degree indent here. The bit comes out, and you get a Phillips and you get a flathead. So that's kind of neat. And that's where the problem really lies, is just this bit holder, but we'll get into that later. And then they have a bottle opener on the end. This is actually a really cool little gadget here. It's just kind of a shame that there's been a few problems with it. I haven't actually experienced a problem myself, but reading online comments and in the reviews of the item, it seems to be pretty common, especially if you're using this on a daily basis. So let's get into the fix here. So the old version looked very similar to this, except it didn't have this ball bearing indent here. It had, it was more flush, and I think there was some kind of split ring in there that held these bits together. And so Milwaukee, knowing that there was a problem, released this version here with the ball bearings. And so the problem with the ball bearings is these ball bearings do come out. So if you're using it a lot, pushing the bits in and out, this ball bearing tends to shoot out, or can shoot out. And then when that happens, it will no longer hold your bits. And of course, that's a problem. So I've come up with a way just to address this issue here. So let's get into that now. What you're gonna need is some heat shrink tubing. The size that I'm using here is this 10mm diameter size, and then I've gone ahead and cut that piece here to match the size of the area I want to cover. So I basically just want to cover this ball bearing here, so I just put that there. I've gone ahead and turned my tubing inside out just so I can get rid of all that text. And let's go ahead and put it on here. And this is a very snug fit. Again, that's a 10 millimeter size. So if you just push the shrink tubing in, make sure you kind of overlap on both sides, just so when the shrink tubing does shrink, it has something to grab onto. And that is pretty much it. And then I have a heat gun here, and I'll just run that, and we could do the fix. So after the heat shrinking application, you'll see that it basically covers the whole ball bearing there. You can see the ball bearing protruding out there a little bit. It's covering that entire section pretty well. So also be careful after you do this. This is gonna get kind of hot, so you're not gonna be able to handle it. So I'll let this cool down for a bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you that everything works as it did before. But now we just have that little bit of shrink tubing there. Okay, now we've given the metal pieces here some time to cool down. So now I can grab it. And I just wanted to show you that everything's the same. So if I take the bit out here, I can replace the bit and it seats as it did before. So no changes there. And the last thing, just closing it here. The material itself is very thin. Nothing is limiting this from closing like as it did before. And that is basically everything. So if you are worried that the ball bearing will come out because you use this on a daily basis, maybe try this fix out, just covering up that ball bearing. That's everything, guys. And thanks for watching.